What fictional character do you feel bad for the most? Any character that loses their glasses. Then while they are crawling on the ground looking for them, the glasses get broken. I have no idea why, but that moment always makes me feel worse than most other things. The little match girl. She is homeless, starving, freezing, and lonely. Then she dies. Ice King from Adventure Time. All the man wants is someone to love. I mean, yes, he is going about it in the worst way possible, but still. All he has is his penguins. Edit. Thanks for the awards. Sydney Prescott. She's had, what, 8 different serial killers after her. Pretty much everyone she's known or dated has been brutally murdered. And all because she did nothing. She did nothing to deserve a life of torment. I felt bad for Jerry from Parks and Rec until it was revealed he has a massive dick and a hot wife. Faramir. I always feel bad for him when I rewatch the LOTR trilogy for the umpteenth time. The extended edition to boot, which tells more of Faramir's story. Todd in the episode of Community where they divide into study groups. No offense. All the kids that go to Hogwarts when HP went there. Shit, man. I'm just trying to create a potion that will make broccoli taste like chocolate. Now I gotta fight a war with giant snakes, racist wizards, and shit. Joey Tribbiani. Everybody gets a character development except for him. He gets dumber and dumber and it's just sad. John Coffey from The Green Mile. Herschel Green in the Walking Dead comic. There are so many characters you could say the same for, but I'm currently rereading it and his character is among the most tragic. Doofenshmirtz. Klaus from the Umbrella Academy. Literally gets kidnapped and tortured for like 2 days without any of his siblings noticing. Also brought up seeing dead people, which would obviously screw up any child. Was locked in a cemetery for hours, etc. No one really cared about him and just saw him as this stoner and couldn't see the whole time he's basically calling out for help. Also Dave's sad face. Frodo. He ends up burnout with severe PTSD, a missing finger, lasting blade venom and spider bite, toxic shock. His achievements are unknown in the Shire. He remains a casualty of the War of the Ring. Uncle Iroh. Compared to other fictional characters he didn't go through that much. But damn, they make his pain feel so intense. Loses his son, and then gets shamed for quitting because of it. Jesse Pinkman. Why is everyone so mean to Charlie Brown? Also Courage the Cowardly Dog had to put up with a lot of BS. George Weasley. I honestly believe killing off just one of the Weasley twins was much worse than killing both. Logan from Veronica Mars had one of the most absurdly terrible lives and I'll be upset about it forever. I want to list details but not sure what the statute of limitations is on spoilers. So just trust me on this one. Rickety Cricket. Azula. Don't get me wrong, I still hate her guts. But her and Zuko are examples of how shitty parenting can differently fuck up your kids. Kif. Fry's dog. Seymour. Squidward. Tom from Tom and Jerry. Any citizen in the same city as a superhero. At some point that shit has to get old. Honey. An evil villain is going to release toxic gas at 5 p.m. if Pickleman doesn't surrender himself. Are the gas masks in the kitchen cabinet or in the RV? Mayhe's Hughes. Rip Hughes. Alucard from Castlevania. Mrs. Everdeen from The Hunger Games. She loses her husband in a mine explosion. Then almost loses Katniss in The Hunger Games twice. And then Prim dies another explosion. Kim Wexler from Better Call Saul. Anakin Skywalker. Squidward. Everyone hates him but I felt bad for him. Fitz and Simmons from Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They always seem to be dealt a bad hand during their lives as S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. I mean, across 6 seasons they've both been chucked into an ocean by a guy they thought was their friend. Simmons has been stranded on an alien planet. Fitz has suffered a brain injury and faced the mental trauma of the pain he committed in a simulation when the computer rewrote his life to be an evil Hydra. Basically a Nazi. Dr. which led to a complete mental breakdown where he started envisioning the Hydra version of himself from the simulation. And they both spent significant portions of time grieving over people, each other who they thought were dead. Anakin Skywalker, all he cared about was keeping Padme safe, and when he needed help with it the most, the Jedi just told him to let his attachments go and accept that she would die. So he makes a deal with the Star Wars equivalent of the devil to save his wife, and it costs him everything until all he has left is the attachment he has to Sidious. Cassandra, cursed to tell only true prophecies but never be believed, foresees the fall of Troy and the realization that her own wedding can never come to be. Fictional character I feel bad for the least is Earwicker in Finnegan's Wake. With his endlessly recurring nightmare apparently triggered by a past experience when he was arrested for peeping at shitting prostitutes. Rickon Stark, Ocarina of Time Link. Poor dude lived a tragedy. Rue, Teddy from Westward. Poor guy has been treated like shit by everyone. Celia Foot from The Help. She broke my heart. Zuko, he turned out better for his experience. But that shouldn't have to have happened. Neville from Harry Potter, he is bullied by his peers, his grandma, his parents are in a mental ward. And on top of that, his teacher in Year 4 for Defense Against the Dark Arts was one of the people who put in parents in the mental ward. He is tortured and beaten by Death Eaters, and the cherry on top, he had to lead a rebellion in Hogwarts by himself. Stress LVL 20. Toby Flenderson, Helga from Hey Arnold, Jerry from Parks and Recreation, Meg Griffin, Azula from Atla, Darth Vader, a slave from birth, slave boy, slave to the whims of the Jedi, slave to the Senate, encaged in a suit of darkness, filled with rage and regret and hate, manipulated from birth because he wanted to save his loved ones. Charlie Bucket because his grandfather, Grandpa Joe, spent 20 years bedridden, all while Charlie and his mother slaved to take care of, cook, fetch tobacco, and feed him. Once Charlie won a golden ticket, Grandpa Joe immediately jumped out of bed, literally dancing, because he realizes this is his chance to get rich at the expense of someone else. Charlie. The remainder of the movie involves Grandpa Joe promoting stealing, blindly signing contracts without reading the fine print, as well as drinking and disobeying the factory owner's behavior requirements. Long story short, Grandpa Joe is the biggest, fakest piece of shit on the planet. Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy. He ended up truly caring about Quill and the others. He sacrificed himself to ensure the safety and well-being of the others. I also love that he called Groot Twig. I cried when he died. The monster from Frankenstein, the novel. Gatsby, the brother and sister from the grave of the Fireflies. Katniss Everdeen, having a sadistic president wanting to kill her for years. And then her sister was murdered. Her existence sucked.